Sheesh. I be wild.
Hey, what's up, y'all? Back with another one. And today we got Jimmy High Roller. Is it Jimmy High Roller? I think it is. Jimmy High Roller. What the Warriors should have never won this championship. Let's see what he's talking about in this video. Let's go.
Just didn't go our way. I don't know how many different ways to say it, but it was a special year, all things considered.
NBA champion, congrats.
Experience for me, Draymond Loon. Tried to make the most of it. Come back, bottle this up. Everybody make the right strides, take advantage of the summer, and you don't want to see us next year.
And that'll do it. It's over. The Golden State Warriors return to a familiar place. They're on top of the NBA world. The fourth title in 8 years. The Dubs dynasty is still very much alive.
He called it. Against all odds, the Warriors are now the 2022 NBA champions. Somehow, this team that was dead in the water just 2 seasons ago has been crowned NBA champions. But this team had no business even being here in the first place. This Warriors team was never supposed to win this championship. A roster full of has-beens and fringe players making a run at a championship? It's impossible. Well, at least it should have been impossible. But they've got Stephen Curry. And as I was watching Steph completely dismantle the Boston Celtics on their home court to close out the finals, I thought to myself, I'll more than likely never see another player like this in my lifetime. What Steph is doing cannot be duplicated or repeated. He is truly a one of one. And I think it's time we take a closer look at where he ranks among the greatest players to ever play this game. Because the Warriors should have never won this championship.
Without Stephen Curry.
Today's video is brought to you by SeatGeek. SeatGeek is a ticketing app that makes buying tickets faster and easier than ever before. Just download the and you're looking at a good use festival.
There's the 5 seconds here of this 2018 NBA season. There's the buzzer. There's a new dynasty in the NBA. The Golden State Warriors champions once again. Back-to-back titles, 3 in 4 years. And the latest with a sweep.
Do y'all remember exactly where you were and how you felt when this happened?
Yeah.
I do. I vividly remember watching the Warriors dismantle the NBA year after year on their way to an all but certain championship.
I remember when they did to the Thunder.
I remember sitting idly by as my favorite player was getting walked out of the building in the finals. It was inevitable, and it felt perpetual, like the reign of the Golden State Warriors was never going to end, and I would spend the rest of my days watching this unbeatable, unstoppable Goliath of a basketball team make quick work of every single organization that stood in their way. I felt hopeless. The Warriors pushed me to the brink of insanity, and it was never going to end. Or at least that's what I thought.
Ibaka trying to stay with Durant. Knocks it away, and Durant's limping. Durant goes down holding his leg. Thompson running the floor. And a foul. And Thompson grabs his left knee.
And he closed out on a shooting hand stop.
Curry.
Steph Curry with a lot of contact. He's holding that left wrist.
Yeah, man,
and that was it.
Get out the way.
A 5-year run, cementing their spot as one of the greatest dynasties in NBA history, all came crumbling down in a matter of moments. Goliath had fallen, and for the first time in half a decade, the door was open for other teams to win it all. The Raptors won their first championship in franchise history, the Bucks won their first championship in half a century, and the Lakers were crowned champions for the first time in a decade. The Dragon had been slayed, and I could now rest knowing the Golden State dynasty was behind us.
Nope.
6 NBA Finals in 8 years, 4 NBA championships, a remarkable run by any measure that only a handful of teams in the history of NBA have accomplished. Congratulations, you are the 2022 NBA champions.
I couldn't have been more wrong. Because somehow, despite injuries and roster changes and ups and downs and everything in between, the Warriors are champions once again. We said they were getting too old. We said they were too injury prone. We said the roster looked like a G League team. We said they couldn't win without Kevin Durant. And they proved us all wrong. Just last season, if you told me the Warriors were going to win another championship, let alone a championship this season, I would have checked you into a mental institution. They went from one of the best teams in the history of the NBA to the worst team in the NBA to champions again in record time. Just take a moment to appreciate this roster that defied all odds and became champions. Out of the 14 players that suited up in the postseason, 6 of them had 0 playoff experience. Instead of seeking out the brightest stars around the league, the Warriors went and acquired players that fit within their system and maxed out their potential. They found value in guys like Gary Payton Jr. and Otto Porter Jr. They saw immense utility in guys like Andrew Wiggins and Jordan Poole and gave them a chance to shine on the biggest stage. Even Andre Iguodala, the oldest player in the entire NBA, played a crucial role as a mentor and a leader for the Warriors throughout the playoffs. This was a masterclass on coaching, adjustments, and players buying into their role and maximizing their impact on the game. The catalyst of this improbable run, the once-in-a-lifetime talent of Stephen Curry. Before this year's playoffs, we were asked who had the most to prove and whose legacy would be altered the most with the championship. I thought maybe Chris Paul, Giannis, James Harden, maybe even Luka Doncic. But the answer all along was Stephen Curry. Because now that he has a long-awaited, well-deserved Finals MVP, the man has done it all. 4 championships, 2 MVPs, 8 All-NBA teams, 8 All-Star appearances, 2 scoring titles, an All-Star MVP, most three-pointers in NBA history, and a Finals MVP.
Dang.
One of the greatest careers the NBA has ever seen. And at 34 years old, he is still as incredible as ever. Now, as NBA fans, we have an unhealthy obsession with all-time rankings, moving players around on our all-time list every other week like some sort of sick game of musical chairs. But if we're going to be honest with ourselves, I think we can all agree that there are a handful of players that remain a step above everyone else. And these are those players. Now, where you choose to rank these players will be different depending on who you ask. Personally, I have them ranked like this. Now, this all-time top 10 has virtually remained the same for years. The most recent player to be on this list was LeBron James, who's been on it for about a decade now. And before him, the most recent players to join this exclusive club were Tim Duncan and Kobe Bryant. Regardless of where you choose to rank these players among your all-time top 10, the players that make up this top 10 haven't budged in over a decade. Recently, I was tempted to add Kevin Durant to this list, but realistically, I couldn't bring myself to remove anyone in his place, so he remains on the outside looking in. But after this championship run by Stephen Curry and his entire season as a whole, the time has come. It's time we add a new player to this list. It's been a long time coming, and it's well deserved. Stephen Curry is now undebatably a top 10 player of all time, and this season has cemented his spot on this list. Every all-time player has won with their respective organizations. This is a definitive requirement of greatness. But only a few players made such a massive impact that the success of an entire franchise began and ended with them. Tim Duncan introduced winning basketball to San Antonio. They couldn't win before he got there, and they haven't won since he left. Michael Jordan didn't just win with the Bulls. He was the Bulls. Stephen Curry isn't just winning in a Warriors jersey. He is the Golden State Warriors. In 2009, he came into a struggling franchise, and over the last 13 seasons, he has turned them into a behemoth. See, it's one thing to come into a franchise that has seen success, one that has won before and has championship DNA. It is a completely different accomplishment to be drafted to a franchise that has never even sniffed a title and turned them into a dynasty. Russell did it, Mike did it, Duncan did it, and Steph has spent the last decade doing it as well. But you don't have to watch Steph tear your favorite team apart to see his generational impact. Steph is as important to the Warriors' success as any player has ever been to any team in NBA history. Here's a chart of the top 10 players all time and how many wins they added to their respective teams over the course of their entire career. For example, throughout Wilt Chamberlain's career, his team won 7.5% more when he played versus when he didn't play.
That LeBron
Shaq's teams won 15% more when he played versus when he was sitting out. Now, anything above 10% is incredible, and nearly all of these players are far above that threshold. When Kobe played, the Lakers won 21.5% more games than when he didn't. Larry Bird led to the direct result of the Celtics winning 22.8% more games. And, of course, the two players that had the largest impact on their team's success are Michael Jordan, and with a large gap above everyone else, LeBron James. But the most important, most impactful, game-changing player for any franchise in the history of the NBA is Stephen Curry. The Warriors win over 32% more games when Curry is playing versus when he's not. That is the equivalent of Steph adding an additional 26 wins for the Warriors over the course of each regular season of his entire career, just by himself. But this isn't some sort of theoretical impact found by just using numbers. We have seen, with our own eyes, just how lost the Warriors are without Steph. 2 years ago, just 5 games into the Warriors season, Steph broke his hand and was sidelined for the remainder of the season. And in that season, the Warriors weren't just bad. They weren't just one of the worst teams in the NBA. They were literally, by far, the worst team in the entire league. The very next season, Steph returned to the lineup and the Warriors' winning percentage more than doubled. And, well, the rest is history. No matter which players come and go, regardless of how the roster changes around him, Steph remains at the center of one of the greatest dynasties in NBA history. The Warriors should have never won this championship. This title was not in the cards for them. A long shot at best. Just 10 years ago, it was almost unanimously agreed upon that a team could not win a championship off of three-pointers and jump shots. It was believed that you could not win a title with a point guard doing the heavy lifting for your offense. 2015 was a fluke. 2016 was a blown lead. The next two, well, those don't really count, right? They had Kevin Durant. All they do is shoot threes. They'll never win again playing that style of basketball. The Warriors aren't even a true Durant will be a finals.
I wouldn't bet against us.
That was hard. That was hard. I like that outro. That was hard. That was hard. But yeah. All right, y'all. It's another video. Another reaction. I'll see y'all next time.